Whoa, league of my own, it don't get better. No, read what I wrote.
Welcome back to the Passion to Paycheck Podcast. On today's episode, we have Junior. Hey, Junior, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. How you guys doing today?
Doing good. So go ahead and let the audience know a little bit about yourself and what you do right now.
Yeah, so my name is Junior. Not a lot of people here in town know me, JR Squad or Junior Jeter. So I do a few things. I have a clothing brand. I have a mobile detail business, and then I run a tire shop. I have one more project. Can't say that one yet, though, unless, we loosen up and we find out, You guys might know there's another project coming soon here.
Might be a good time to bring it out. Start letting the people know.
Yeah. So we'll see on that. It's still in the works. We actually just had a convo about that about a week ago, so we're going on that. But, born and raised from Bakersfield, California. 29.
Okay.
So all my 29 years here in town, a little bit in the 805 area. Just in the summertime, I would go out there, go work. When I was a kid, come back over here and then do my thing. So so a lot of people know what's called the projects, the MLK area. So that's actually where I was pretty much born and raised at.
Okay.
So it was just me and my mom, probably smaller than this right here, just digging it out. And I remember one time I was talking to her and I was like, how come we don't get out of here? And she was just like, we can't. I was like, why not? She's like, it's too much. So I think I was probably like 6, 7 years old. I remember her and I was like, you know what? Like, do we have a lawnmower machine? She's like, yeah. Like, I'll be back. She's like, okay. I remember I started knocking on doors in the apartments there. Pop, pop, pop. Hey. I was like, you guys need your yard cut? They're like, how much? $5. Yeah, come on. All right. Boom. I went back home. I think I made like $100 that day.
Dang.
Told my mom. I told my mom. I was like, told moms, I was like, hey, here's some cash. I don't know what you want to do with it. Either save it for you or buy some food. I was like, this is where my whole mentality changed right there when I seen that I was able to make money in that own area without people giving it to me,
Yeah.
So from there, that's where that whole mentality for me started. We're like, okay, I gotta go out and go get it on my own.
Yeah.
So I remember too, because we actually had this convo about, like, as a kid, how it was for me. And I tell people, honestly, like, I literally had to go and grow up on my own. But, yeah, my mom was there, but it's like I would only see her after she came back from work. Meaning, I remember, I think I was a kindergartner. I would have to walk myself to school.
Oh, okay.
Because she was at work.
Yeah.
So she would drop me off at the babysitter's, go to work, or she would go to work, walk, boom. So then my first grade year, that's when I finally learned how to start ironing my own clothes, doing my thing. I was like, all right, well, here we go. And that could just kind of, I guess, structured me to be grown up so young, to where a lot of people don't understand that. Like, me, myself, like, a lot of people think, oh, this fool's like, he's cold-hearted. And I'm like, nah, I'm not cold-hearted. It's just that, like, I grew up different. So, like, if you're complaining to me that, oh, I can't, I'm just looking at you like, bro, you can. Like, you just got to put your mind to it and put yourself out there. 100.
Because you were in that situation where you could have easily said, well, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm just going to sit here and listen to mom and tell her, okay, I guess we're not getting out of here. But you took it in your own hands and went ahead and said, okay, I'm going to go try and do something for myself instead of waiting, like you said, for a paycheck or someone to give you money to help.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I'm 6 years old.
And that's the crazy part.
Yeah.
You grew up like quick. You grew up very mature quickly. Probably raised yourself too, because I came from a single mom home. Same thing, kind of just raised myself, figured things out.
Right. Yeah. So it was, a few years going on, doing the same kind of routine here and there, where I was just kind of making my own money. And then I remember I was probably about 8 or 9. I have a few cousins up in Oxnard. They're like, hey, you guys want to come out here for summer break? Like, you just come hang out with us. I'm like, all right, cool. So my cousin's husband has a landscaping company, which, I mean, I was already cutting yards. So I was like, hey, can I go with you guys? He's like, yeah, come through. So he's like, we got to wake up at 6, though. Keep in mind, I'm in summer break. Like, I don't got to be waking up that early. But he's like, yeah, just come through. All right. So there we go. And I was like, you know what? If you don't mind, you think I could just come and, get some stuff going with you guys? Yeah. Well, for those 3 months, I remember I just kicked off the whole 3 months out there. Boom, boom. My cousins were like, bro, you didn't even come hang out with us. I'm like, I got to work.
I'm grinding.
I got to work,
Yep.
So I remember go back home. Mom goes, hey, I don't have a lot of money for clothes. We'll just buy you a certain amount. Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, don't stress about it, Mom. I got you. I gave her, I literally grabbed all the money that I had that they would give me. I put it in an envelope and I go, here. I go, this is for you. I already got my school clothes on the side. The rest is for you. Like, do what you got to do. And I remember that we ate good. I was like, we ate good, I mean, I'm used to just eating. I'll be fine with just straight beans, un quesito, y let's go,
Mm-hmm.
But that day I remember she goes, I'm going to make some carne asada. And I'm like, heck yeah, So I was like, for me, just seeing that smile on her, it was like, okay, like, that's my purpose here. Like, you raised me enough already to understand certain things. So now it's my job to come and make sure that you're taken care of, So years passed by, and that happened after, going back and forth a few summers. So now I finally hit high school, and I had saved enough a little bit to get an actual generator. So now I'm not only cutting yards, but now I get into washing cars. So now I'm washing cars there too.
That's right.
It started with one car, which was my own personal car that we had there. We were washing it, and then someone's like, hey, how much did you wash my car? And I was like, I didn't really think about it because I'm like, well, I don't even know because that's not something I'm doing. I'm just washing it. They're like, we'll give you $20. I'm like, for real? They're like, yeah, just do the outside real quick. All right, cool. I'm doing it. Another car comes in. Hey, how much? And it's just like people that knows around the apartments, So I was like, cool. So then that's when I was like, you know what? We're going to start washing cars too. If I don't have a day that I'm going to be cutting a yard, I'm going to wash a car. Like, money has to keep coming in,
Yeah.
Like, we got to keep going. So that was pretty much the routine I had. I was doing sports in high school, but then eventually it was like, okay, well, do I want to play a sport or do I want to continue creating, more money for us to be, surviving well? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put sports aside and I'm going to continue doing this. Kicked off. So then I remember that I was like, this is not enough for me. So I had 3 homies that I had, and I'm sure if they're watching this, they're going to be like, hey, that was me. But I had 3 friends. I go, hey, bro, I have a plan. I go, this is going to sound like some mobster stuff, but I got a good plan. I go, I have enough money, and I'm going to buy a bunch of candies, a bunch of boxes of candies, and we're going to go sell candies at school now. I go, each one's going to have a box. From that box, you get a cut once we're done. All right. So I remember I went to go buy 3 duffel bags, stuffed them each with 2 boxes of candy. So each guy was walking with 2 boxes of candy, right? So we would walk through the hallways, and it was like a quick slap, bam. They'll give me the money.
Hustling.
Bam. Cool. Bro, that's crazy because I was in high school with that right there. A week, I was probably bringing in like $200-$300 for me after paying the guys.
That's a lot.
So that's a lot for me in high school as a freshman, all the way to my senior. I was like, that's crazy, So I was like, dang. So then I was telling my mom, I was like, hey, like, if I could continue this, then we'll be fine. And then finally, I'm pretty sure someone didn't like it, and they ended up telling the wrong person. Because it's funny, because I even had a bunch of the security guards there too on boat with me. They knew what's up. They're like, hey, come over here on this area, come over here, like, that way they don't see you.
They look out.
Yeah. And then finally, the dean hits me one day. I was walking, and dude goes, "Hey, come here." I had a box of candy too that day, and I don't ever carry boxes. And that day I had one. He's like, "Hey, we heard that you guys are selling. You can't be selling candy, this and that." He's like, "I'm gonna give you a warning though, but if I catch you guys again, that's it." So I had to kind of put it on the low, and I did it a little bit on the side, even there, because we were doing sports. I started going back to sports again, so I ended up changing it to Gatorade. I changed it to some candy and more Gatorades, though, because people are like, "I don't have time to go to the actual snack bar, and let me go get a drink." I was like, "I got you right here, bam." So we're in the bus going to a soccer game or a baseball game. Like, here, I got the Gatorade right here. So that happened, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna risk it, So that was those few things that I had going on, and then I started telling myself, like, well, what am I gonna do when I get out of high school? This was probably like my junior year, and I didn't know the actual path, because keep in mind it's just me and mom. So coming from a Hispanic culture, like, there's really no path,
Yeah, especially at that age, 17, 18, when we're there. There's some people that do have it, but most people, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do either. But I did know I wanted to make some money.
Yeah.
I wanted to grind. I wanted to hustle. You know what I mean? But what gave you that hustle mentality? Because that you can't teach somebody that. It was because of the struggle, right?
Right.
Because how you grew up and struggling and seeing your mom struggle. So you're like, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. And, and you see how it started working out. So you started kind of evolving to trying different things, doing different things, making money here, making money there. And then now you're what, 17? Junior year? About 17?
About 16 actually.
16?
Yeah.
So then what's your plan there?
So I remember I still didn't have a plan, and then they're starting to talk to us at school about, like, going to college, doing this, doing that. I remember they came to our house, and then they showed us this big old book. They're painting it very beautiful, like, oh yeah, you're gonna make this much, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right, cool, And at the time, I was, pretty good with computers too. So he was like, well, we have this thing for computer tech. Like, they make a lot of money. You could do this, do that. So I was like, all right. So I had in mind that that's what I wanted to do, because that's what they showed me at the moment.
And they look good.
Yeah, and it looked good. Yeah, exactly. The numbers that they were painting. So I remember around that time, I was riding my bike around the apartments, and I had my hoodie on, and it was cold. And I look back, and I see a patrol car coming. And I was like, just minding my business, right? So I'm riding, and then I just hear the siren go, boop. And I look, and I'm like, oh. And he, I'm talking about, he jumped out of his car. He goes, hey, get on the sidewalk. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, so I'm sitting down, and then in my head, I'm like, well, what's going on? He's like, do you have a knife on you or anything? I'm like, no. He's like, can I search you? And I was like, sure. Keep in mind, 16 years old, I don't know, so he searches me. He's like, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Like, I thought you were someone we're looking for. You fit the description. I'm like, oh, okay, no, you're fine. You're doing your job. Like, okay. But then I went back home and I go, this dude, yeah, he's doing his job, right? But the way he came at me, like, no questions. That's just straight, like, hey, get on the ground. Like, I was like, huh. So I was like, you know what? I was like, what if I were to be that change later on? Right. What if I were to be that change and I could help out? Because at the time,
from the inside,
because keep in mind at the time it was a very culture department back then. Meaning, like, you didn't really see no Hispanics or in the department. The majority of them, were whites. And, and a lot of people always say, like, no. I'm like, it's obviously on paper, too. Like, there's been reported that back then it was. So that's why they started changing more and more ways of hiring, too, to help out, to balance everything out, Right. So as that time going by, I was like, you know what? It's like, what if I become one? I'm like, you know, what if I could be the change? Or just to help out, you know? Like, that'll be different from someone from here, you know, and growing up from the whole, like, structure.
The struggle.
Yeah, the struggle, and be that change. I was like, you know what? Why not? So that like got stuck in my head. So then my senior year comes, and a bunch of programs started opening up with the police department,
right,
to where you could actually start doing things with them already. And I was like, you know what?
like the training, no?
Yeah.
Training.
So I was like, you know what? It doesn't hurt to try. So I remember I put in my paperwork, and I ended up running into people that actually knew me from there, that used to work in that area, but they actually work for the department now, which helped me out.
Like in the office?
Yeah, in the office. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool that, like, you know, we know each other from there, and they get where you're at, and I'm trying to be there too. And yeah, so they did my paperwork, they did backgrounds, everything went well. So then I got involved with the police department. Well, before I knew it, I ended up graduating high school, and then I was like, well, am I going to go to college, or am I going to just try to wait? You know, because I think you had to be 21 and a half to actually get into the actual academy. So I was like, you know what? Meanwhile, I'll just go to college for now. So I'm going to college, and then they called me. They're like, hey, you got accepted. Like, you're good to go. I'm like, oh, dang, okay. So I started doing my thing with the department, and, you know, I'm putting in hours, and, I mean, everything's going really good. And then I'm like, all right, cool. So then finally they were like, hey, we're going to start testing again. So I remember when they pulled out the first test, I was like, you know what? This is my opportunity to actually go in full time and do my thing. Well, I remember when I tested, I got my results back, and I didn't pass the first time. So when that happened, I was like all bummed out, because I'm like, damn, this is what I want to do now. Like, this is really what I want to do.
You got more serious.
Yeah, so I'm like, dang. So I got really bummed out and discouraged, but then I was like, no, if this is what you really want to do, if I was able to push and overcome situations from being as a kid to now, I mean, why should I stop now?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I need to just keep pushing forward and do my thing. So then I remember I started hitting the books, and then tested again. Boom, finally got in. All right, cool. So by then, I'm already probably like almost 4 years in with the department of doing, you know, a bunch of hours, just helping out and everything. So, like, I'm really well known with the department. And we finally get accepted in the academy. I'm in the academy, and bam, blow my knee out.
Damn.
Blow my knee out.
How did that happen?
So we're running, and I ended up jumping over a wall. You know, so
Part of the training. So jumped over the wall, and when I landed, the way I landed, it just shifted my whole knee out. It just popped it. I mean, I felt it and I heard it, but I was like, I'm not gonna give out right away. So I continued pushing. I remember I went home. I just wrapped it, and I was like, I'm gonna ice it. Cool. The next day, though, we're doing what's called a 999 run. So that means it's an officer down. So I'm talking about when they scream that, you better high knees, run, Forrest, run as fast as you can. Like, you're running full throttle. Go.
So I'm going. I remember we have our bag. Our bag's probably like 60 pounds. I'm carrying it, running, and as I'm turning, my knee just feels kind of funky, and I just fall. But I didn't realize what happened, so I looked, and my knee actually had popped out. Oh. I was like, dang.
Because of the weight and then the little turn or whatever.
Yeah. So from the first time when I first landed, I obviously I ripped a ligament in there, but since I kept going, I made it even worse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended up just smacking it. I just...
Into place.
Yeah, I just bit it. I bit my shirt. I remember I bit my shirt, and I just smacked it in real quick. And then I, like, popped my knee out, and then I was like, all right. So I started walking out, and I told them, I was like, hey, I think I need to go see a doc. And they're like, for what? I was like, my knee's damaged. But they thought I was kind of, like, messing around. So they're like, go over there and like, you know, they started smoking you. That's what it's called. They smoke you. And we're running out. And then I'm like, hey, I can't no more. My knee's just jacked right now. So then, finally they take me to the doctors. And within a day, you could just hear water in my knee.
Oh.
Just whoosh, whoosh. I'm like, dang. Like, that was it. So keep in mind that my whole time trying to get in, it just went away like that real quick. Boom. So I remember I was sitting down with my mom, and then she was like, well, what's your plan now? You know? And I felt like if she didn't sit me down and ask me that, I would have probably just let it take me down all the way without trying to do anything. And I just told her, I remember I just told her, I was like, I don't know. I don't have no more plans right now. Like, I thought I had my whole, like, journal set for my life goal. But now, like, literally.
Everything changed.
It just changed, you know?
From one day to another.
Yeah. And what's crazy that I remember this Sarge that I know really well, he told me, he goes, hey, he's like, before you get in, he's like, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a life advice. He's like, make sure you have a plan B. He goes, I know this is not the thing you want to hear, but you always want to have a plan B. Just in case it doesn't work out, you always want to have another plan. And guess what? I didn't have a plan. So I remember he ended up calling me, and he was like, so what's your move now? And I was just like, I don't know. I don't know what to do now. So I gave it about a week, and I was like, you know what? Because I already had my my AA degree in criminal justice. So I was like, you know what? I think I know what I want to do for now. Since I was going to have a bunch of surgeries, and I was just like, I can't do anything right now. I'm like, I'm going to just chill. I was like, I'll just go back to school, and I'll get my bachelor degree. So I ended up going back, and I did get my bachelor degree in that. And then I was
in
like,
what would you say?
Criminal justice.
Criminal justice.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll get that, and, you know, maybe once I'm better, I could just use it for something else. So I was like, okay, well, I ended up graduating, and my whole mindset from actual doing any law enforcement at the time had changed completely, because I was already more in the business game already. So by then I had already opened up, which we have the clothing brand, which is funny how the clothing brand started. Did I ever tell you that or no?
No, you never told me the story.
So the way that the clothing brand started was, so here in town, we used to go out a lot, right? I don't know if you remember Bricks.
Yeah.
So we used to go to Bricks all the time, right? And it was around my birthday time, and we would always go with my friends and, you know, all our family. So I remember one time we walked in, and this is probably already like, I don't know, the 12th, 13th time in the month that we've been there, because it was still like my birthday month. So we walked in, and then they're like, the security goes, hey, Junior and his squad's here. And I started, like, I kind of giggled. I was like, Junior and his squad, like, hey, you know, that's funny. So I remember we were at the table, and then one of my homies goes, hey, fool, he goes, we're your squad now, huh? He's like, and I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you didn't hear him? He's like, Junior and his squad. And I was like, oh, that's pretty funny. Like, it sounded funny at the time, but kind of cool, you know? So when I ended up having my first surgery from the injury, I remember I was laying in bed. I didn't have nothing to do. I was just there. I called one of my guys that does artwork. I go, hey, I'm gonna give you this idea. Call me back when you have it drawn out. I go, I want a lion, I want JR Squad, and just something that like just means like, you know, like royalty or something, like, you know, just something tough. All right, cool. So then he sends me the picture back, and it was the lion with my name on it, and it said JR Squad. I was like, hey, that's pretty clean right there, you know? So from there, I was like, you know what? Why don't I make that name into actual clothing brand? So then I sat down with him, because he does clothing too. I was like, hey, I want to do beanies. It was around the winter time. I go, I want to do beanies, hoodies, like everything that you could think of. And yeah, we started dropping the first gear, and it's crazy because people started supporting. Like, people I didn't think that were going to help me out or support were supporting, like, hey, we want that. And we just started kind of going from there. And out of nowhere, like, I would go up, and people would be like, hey, JR Squad. Like, what's up, JR Squad? Like, until this day, like, people like, JR Squad. Like, hey, that's pretty tight, you know? So I'm like, damn, that's clean. So that's actually how the name JR Squad came out.
There's a story behind it.
Yeah, with the story, because a lot of people was telling me, like, how'd you come up with that?
Yeah, like, well, why JR Squad?
Yeah. So it was literally, like, just laying in bed, not having nothing, but because the name from that he told me at the club,
right.
Hey, Junior and his squad is here. Like, that little joke became an actual brand itself, you know?
Because it stuck with you.
Yeah, it stuck with me. Yeah.
JR Squad.
JR Squad. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
You know, and it's pretty tight because, like, people, like, they recognize the actual hoodie itself, too. Because there be, actually, like, about a week ago, some guy, he goes, hey, I seen your hoodie, or I seen that hoodie that you have, but I don't know where. I don't know who had it on, but he was like, I seen it and I liked it. And then I was like, oh, yeah, that's my clothing brand. And then he goes, oh, you're JR Squad. Like, you're Junior Jeter. I'm like, yeah, I'm Junior Jeter, because that's what they call me, too. And then he's like, bro, we seen your hoodie, and, like, it was clean. Like, we want to get one. I was like, yeah, I'll take care of you. Like, you know, we'll get that going. And then he was actually asking me about how I created that, because I guess he likes lions, too.
Oh, okay.
So he was telling me, yeah, we love lions, and, you know, this is, like, a hoodie that we would rock, too. And then it turns out his name is Junior also. So it kind of worked out because, I mean, it's not just me. Like, this goes for anyone that,
right.
Like, hey, whoever's a junior, hey, that's you right there too, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Fits them.
Yeah, it fits them. So that's why I was like, you know what? I want to make something that it fits everyone. Like, it doesn't matter who, what, like, what you look like, who you are. Like,
right.
This is, like, if this fits you, this is you right there. You know, you like lions like that.
Yeah.
You know, the lions right there. So that was actually how we created the JR Squad brand, which I know this past year or two I haven't really done too much on it, but the following year though that's coming, I'm gonna do a Miami line. So I'm gonna do something where like has the Miami vibe to it.
Yeah.
So
change it up a little bit.
Yeah, change it up.
That'd be cool.
Bring that over here.
Yeah.
You know. So I'm like, hey, why not do that over here? So that's something we're working on too right now. So that'll be cool. Tight. So
that's exciting.
Yeah.
And how long have you had the clothing brand?
So I started in 2019.
2019.
Yeah, because that's when I had my first surgery.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we had the video. When you did my truck.
Oh yeah, the charcoal one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at my video, I'm like walking out with the limp.
Yeah, when we did a little video, he was picking up his truck, and yeah, he's limping still because that's when you first got, yeah.
Yep, fresh out of surgery, picking up the piece. I'm like, I need an elevator for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, so that's how that started. And then, so we had that going. So this was already, let me see, 2020, 21, when the brand has already kind of kicked off. And then in about 22, I was like, you know what? I have all the machine, so why not create something with it? So I remember I was looking around, and I bought this little truck, a little Sonoma. I was like, hey, you know what? We're going to put a generator on the back, a water tank, and that truck's gonna be on the road, you know, try to make some money. Hit up one of my guys. We partnered up. He's like, yeah, I'm down to work. Let's go. And we started hitting it. And the name is funny, too, because I was in Mexico, and I was watching SpongeBob SquarePants. And SpongeBob over there, but it's Bob Esponja.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never heard that before. So then I was like, Mr. Burbujas. And then I was like, you know what? Mr. Burbujas actually sounds pretty, like, cool. But in English, Mr. Bubbles.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Mr. Bubbles Mobile Detailing.
Yeah.
So
pretty cool.
I was like, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do Mr. Bubbles Mobile Detailing. Nice. Like a little bubble, doing a thumbs up. Bam. And I hit up another artist. I was like, hey, make me this logo. This is what I have a vision of. And they sent over the logo, and boom. It was like the perfect logo. Like, it wasn't too much, too little. It was just perfect. And, yeah, that's where Mr. Bubbles got created. And, I mean,
was that in 22 you started that one?
Yeah, 22.
Yeah.
So we've been in the business.
Was that right after COVID?
Yes. Yeah.
Right after COVID.
Right about it, yeah. I think I was like kind of firing it up around COVID or right when it was ending, just to test the waters.
Yeah.
But like officially, like in business, it was like in 22, right at the end of it. So that went out, and then I mean, you know, we've been blessed to have a lot of support in town here, where people actually book details. You know, because I mean, I know there's a lot of details out here, and you know, everyone does their thing differently, and that's why I tell my guy, I was like, hey, I was like, at the end of the day, like, you got to do your thing. Don't worry about everyone else. Like, we're doing our thing, you know. So that's when I fired that up, and this was still 22 when I was like, you know what, I'm trying to buy another property. I told my mom, I was like, I want to buy another property, and she goes, she was like, well, I want to retire already. But she tells me, she goes, I'm not going to retire until you get your property. And I was like, nah, don't worry about that. Like, if you're ready to retire, like, do your thing, you know? Like, don't worry about me. Like, I'll figure it out. And that's when my girl tells me, she goes, hey, guess what? I'm like, uh-oh. She's like, uh-oh. And then she's like, I'm pregnant. I was like, oh, damn, hell yeah. You know, I was excited. Yeah. Like, right away, I was like, okay, that's going to be Derek right there, you know? Like, hell yeah. So then I was like, okay. So that was even more of a push. More motivation to be like, you know what? I'm struggling right now to get this other property, but I'm going to make stuff happen right now. Like, I'm going to make it happen. So I remember I started just going hammers. Like, I'm working 24/7. I think I'm already probably like 3-4 months, no rest, just going, you know, going at it. I'm working with the real estate agent. And then my mom's like, hey, like, you know, like, I'm not gonna retire yet until, you know, you get that spot. Like, you know, because I wanna, if I need to help you out, I was like, don't worry about it. Like, if you have to, do it now. Like, I kept telling her.
Right.
So then we finally closed. Boom. You know, we close out. And I think the part that got me the most, because she goes, so what about me now? I was like, what do you mean? She goes, when are you going to go help me look for, like, an apartment for me to move? I go, what do you mean? I go, this house is literally bought as big because it has your own area. Like, you coming with me. Like, you ain't going nowhere.
That's right.
And she was just like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, you coming with me. Like, you're not going to go nowhere. Like, I'm not going to have you out by yourself. Like, you coming with me. Like, I got you. Like, enjoy your retirement. Yeah. And I told her, I go, don't pay me anything either. Like, this is you. Like, enjoy it.
I think that's the best thing you can do for your moms.
Yeah.
It's blessings right there.
It's a blessing.
Yeah. So, like, for me, when that happened, I was just like, you know what? I might not have everything or all the money that I want to have. Like, I mean, I think that's anyone. Like, they want to have as much money. But for me, I think that was it. Like, for me, I was like, that's it. Like,
make you happy.
You know what I mean? Like, what more do I want? You know, we got the house now. She's retiring. And all I was just waiting for was just pretty much like the baby now. Like, hey, you know what? This is it. Enjoy life.
Blessings.
Yeah, just blessings right there. And we were doing that, and we moved in. We did our thing, and we just been enjoying it, kicking in. I'm like, man, it's a blessing. Like, just to sit back like we're doing right now, and then I just look and I see her, and I'm just like, damn.
Everything you accomplished from where you come from to what you have accomplished and have nothing but blessings. Like you said, it's not even at the end, like, all about money and you wish you had more money. You already have all the money you need with those blessings you have. You got your moms, your family, your kid. Yep. It's all good. Everybody healthy. I mean, you know, what else can you ask for?
We're here. Yeah. You know, we're doing the podcast.
Live.
Yeah. And then it's crazy too, because I actually fast forward a little bit on myself, but a lot of people don't know this too, but in 2018, when I got hurt from the academy, my gallbladder started giving out on me.
Ooh.
So I couldn't keep anything in. So I every time I would drink water, it would just come out, boom. I was always vomiting and having a bunch of stomach pains. So they were just like, hey, your gallbladder level's kind of high, but it's not enough to just remove it yet. I'm like, so what do we do? So they were just giving meds. I'm like, all right. So a few months went by, right? And I remember I'm in school still at this time, back in college. And I was falling asleep the whole time. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, why am I falling asleep? And then I was walking by, and then the professor goes, hey, are you all right? I'm like, yeah, why? And then he goes, your lips look really, really red. Like if you ate a bag of hot Cheetos. And I hadn't even realized. I'm like, oh, let me go check. So, yeah, they were, like, super red. So I looked at my hands, and they were, like, bright red. Like, I mean, not as bright as this, but they were super red. Like, if my hands were on the floor. Right. I was like, what the heck? So I was like, okay. So I was like, maybe I have a fever at the time. Like, 2-3 days later, I started noticing my hands were peeling. Oh. And I was like, okay, this is not normal.
Symptoms or something.
Yeah, like, this is not normal. I'm like, what the heck? So that went on for, like, about a week. And then my feet started doing it. Damn. My feet started peeling. I'm like, damn, I'm shedding right now? Like, what the heck? So, like, okay. So I was supposed to have my surgery in December. So this is about October. And then finally they tell me, like, hey, you should just go get a, like an IV. Just to kind of flush your body out, right? Because it was almost... Vitamins. Yeah, because it was like a cold symptom that I had. So I had a cold that never went away for like almost 5 months. Oh, shit. I was always stuffy and everything. I'm like, what the heck? I was tired. So then finally I tell the doc, I'm like, hey, I want to get this IV before I go into my surgery. So she's asking me like, oh, what are your symptoms? And I tell her. And then she goes, are your legs spotted? Like, do they have red spots? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't even looked. So, she picks my pants up. She looks at my leg and there's these red spots. And I'm just like, oh, damn, they're there. Like, what you just asked for.
But what is that?
I've never seen I've never seen a dog besides TV run so fast out. Like, she looks and she goes, oh, I'll be back. Takes off. Boom. Takes off running. And then another dog comes in. So where I was at, it was a clinic across the street from Memorial Hospital. And the actual specialist from the actual hospital came over there to the clinic, and he's like, no, we gotta cancel your surgery. I already called your surgeon over there. It's canceled. I need to go send you to go see a specialist. I'm like, for what? He's like, I think he got valley fever. I was like, valley fever? I'm like, I don't think I have that. I think I'm fine. They're like, nah, I think you have it. So it was almost like if they jinxed it, like 20 times more on my body, because the next morning I couldn't even wake up. Like, I was just on my bed. Like, I was like just sweating up a storm. I couldn't get up. My body was aching and everything. So that went on for like almost 2 weeks where I couldn't even do anything.
Damn.
Finally, I go get tested, and they're like, yeah, you got valley fever. I'm like, damn. And then they're like, you have pneumonia too, which is in your lungs.
Fuck.
And I'm like, damn. Shit. I'm like, they did blood work. It's in your blood too. I'm like, damn, I'm all jacked right now. Gallbladder, valley fever, broken knee, everything, right? Yeah. So I was just like, dang. And then I was like, so what do we do from here? They're like, well, you got to start taking medicine. All right, cool. So they gave me the medication, but the medication was so strong, like my hair started falling out. Oh, shit. I started getting like hives, like almost like rashes from being in the sun. So I couldn't be in the sun. So that's why, too, a lot of people, like, they always ask me when it comes down to the summertime, or the sun in general, they're like, how come you're always wearing a long sleeve? Like, because my body just reacts a certain way now. Like, it's better now, but before, it's like I barely go out to the sun, and it's like, poof, it just reacts. But it's because those flucanos was almost like a radiation. You're just...
You're sensitive to it, to the sun.
Yep, so it just pretty much dormants everything, but, I mean, it's reacting on your whole body. Oh. And then, so I remember I was... Pretty much, I considered it almost like my deathbed in myself, because it's like I couldn't get up, I couldn't walk. Like, people had to hold me to just move around. And I was like, man. So then finally, I got better from that. But I had to tell myself, like, hey, like, you got to keep pushing forward, because if you keep telling yourself, like, oh, you're sick, well, yeah, you're going to get more sick.
I was going to ask you that, like, how did you deal with it while you were going through all that? Because that's not easy to go through. Yeah. As far as like mentally and talking to yourself, because a lot of people can tell you a lot of shit, but when you're going through it, it's like it's just you versus you. Yeah. You there's nothing the other person could do to fix yourself. Right. Because that's something that you need to do yourself. So what made you stay positive and stay motivated?
So I remember I just told myself, like, you know what, like it's a mind game right now. Mm-hmm. So it's either me or me getting carried out in a gurney, mm-hmm. like, you know. And I just told myself, like, you know what, I gotta push my body. It's gonna hurt, yes, but I gotta push myself out to actually make it happen. So I remember I called my friend. I was like, hey, I'm gonna need you to help me take a lawn chair outside. I was like, I think I need sun right now. Like, the sun, you know how they say, like, the vitamin, like, you just need it. Yeah. Because I was in my room for, like, almost a month without coming out whatsoever. Yeah. So I was just laying in bed and having night sweats and everything. So I was bad. I lost probably, like, 20, 30 pounds. So I remember I went in the academy at 190, 185? At the time that I got weighed, I was like almost 160 something. I was like, dang, I lost a lot of weight. Yeah, I was sucked up too. So I remember I sit down, and I'm just taking it in. I was like, okay, like, that's enough for today. So I was doing it for like a week. Kid you not, a week later, my body just started kind of like just bouncing back on its own. Everything started working good. And then the doctor was like, hey, your level's going down little by little, so we'll decrease your pills. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, it came to an end to where I realized that those pills were making me worse, because, like, I would crash out when I would take a pill. So it was like my body would just overload it, so it would make me more tired. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have to do it on my own. So I stopped taking those fluconazole and just go on my own. Well, I remember I think I went like 2-3 times to those appointments, because it's every month. So by the third appointment, he was like, hey, keep taking your pills. He goes, your levels are dropping dramatically. But
you weren't taking them.
But I'm not taking them. But I didn't tell him though. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not gonna tell you,
Like, yeah, I'll keep taking them.
I literally, I was like, all right, you got it, doc. Like, I got you. But it was just me, like, just coming out, like, just, you know, walking around.
Being active.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit of sun, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I always say movement is medicine, and that's a great example right there, where your body was healing itself as you're getting up, walking, and doing all that.
Yep, and it sucked because I couldn't walk because of my knee. Mm-hmm. So it was just more of sitting there with my leg up, but it was like my body was taking it all in, you know? So then finally the last appointment, he goes, that's weird. I'm like, what happened? He goes, you don't have nothing no more. It shows you're gone. It's gone.
The valley fever?
Yeah, that is
completely
dormant. Yeah,
dormant.
It's dormant. He's like, but you don't have it no more. And I was like, so what does that mean? He goes, congratulations, you're done here.
Good.
I'm like, and then he goes, oh, okay.
Those pills work.
Yeah. He goes, dang, you took your pills how you had to. And then I started laughing. I go, you want me to tell you something? He's like, what's up? And I go, I didn't take them for like almost 5 months. He goes, really? I'm like, yeah, I didn't take them. He goes, well, then, he goes, and it's funny that he said this. Keep in mind, a doctor's not going to tell you this. Right. He goes, dang. He goes, you got a strong brain then. Mm-hmm. And I was
mindset.
Like, yeah. He's like, you got a strong brain. I was like, yeah. I was like, I mean, that's all it was. You like just telling yourself, you know.
It always comes to the mindset, like you telling yourself, like, I'm going to be good. I'm going to push through this. Everything's going to be good. Yeah. I'm going to heal myself. All this, because you could actually make yourself sick, but you could actually heal yourself as well. Yeah. It's all in your mindset. Yeah.
Well, it's like when you go to the hospital. Like right now, you could be in pain. You go to the hospital, just because you see the hospital building, your brain knows it, you're going to feel better. Mm-hmm. Like half the time that happens, where like you go to the actual hospital and you don't feel as bad as you were at home, because your brain's telling you like, oh, the hospital is going to fix you.
There's help on the way.
Yep. I forgot what it's called. There's this effect where they did this thing where like they hit the guy, or they
the placebo effect.
There you go. Yeah, where
like, they give sugar pills too and all that shit.
And then they put a nail in his shoe. They put a nail in his shoe, right? But like he doesn't even realize it. And then they tell him walk, so he walks. But keep in mind the nail's actually through his shoe. It's not through his actual foot. But he walks and he feels the nail like kind of hit his shoe.
like a rock or something.
Yeah,
there.
And he looks and he starts freaking out and he gets pale and everything. And he's telling the docs like, I'm in so much pain, like I'm in pain.
Because he thinks it went through, but it didn't.
Goes to the hospital, they take his shoe off, and the nail's not even on his foot. And the doctor goes, that's a mind and effect right there. Like, you know, we're just kind of testing you to see how you're gonna react, because your brain will play like different things on you, like because you saw the nail there, you're like, oh damn, it went through me already, but it really wasn't, you know. Yeah. So I'm like, that's crazy how your brain could do so much.
Yeah, would you believe that's what is reality? Yeah. Even though it's not, but you really believe it in your mind. You really believe it. You create it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the crazy things right there that I realized. Like, dang, your mind could actually do so much.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's why till this day. I mean, obviously, like it's not like how they say like it's a beautiful picture of like, damn, like this was doing this, he's doing that. They have businesses. Oh, they got money. They got heck no.
It was like this.
You struggle
mainly
a lot more.
like this. And a little bit of this. You know,
you struggle a lot more. You work twice as hard. You go through more shit. There's more fires to turn off. I mean, like to us, people's every like normal problems is like nothing.
Right.
We're like, we fix those shit like with your eyes closed.
Yeah.
Because we turn off fires all day, every day, different things that happen, you know, and different things we go through because we still have a life. You know, so you still got to balance that. So you're like, how you trying to figure out how am I do this, do that, and then take care of this, take care of that, and take care of him, take care of that over there. It's like you got to juggle all that shit. Yeah.
Yep, I know. That's why a lot of people too, like they're always like, "Oh, must be nice." I'm like, trust me, it's not. Must be nice.
Or they tell you you're lucky.
Yeah. That's the part that gets me the most. Right, yeah, you're lucky.
You're lucky, Rudy.
Yeah,
I got lucky. Yeah.
Oh man, when they say
I tripped and fell, and all this money came into my pocket. I'm like, yep.
I'm like, man, I got lucky breaking my knee then. You know. And
you're lucky you work 24/7, you know, month after month after month.
Literally. Well, I mean, last night I was telling you that we're at the Fuerza Regida concert last night. And yeah, I was at the concert, but I was still making sure that like, okay.
Oh yeah, lining everything up.
Yeah, my details,
appointments,
everything. I'm like, oh, let me screenshot, send it over because, you know, we got to make sure
it needs to be taken care of. Yeah.
And 100%. And that's me 24/7. Like I probably sleep maybe, I don't know, 3 hours, 4 hours, if I'm lucky. Half the time, my brain's just doing this.
Yeah. Well, I always say, you know, we go to sleep working, you wake up working. You know what I mean? And then you wake up every morning with a million things to do. You do a million things, and there's still a million things you didn't do.
Yeah.
So it never ends, you know? So you just got to keep going and, you know, make shit happen.
Yeah. I know a lot of people always tell me, like, hey, do you have time for this? Or... Not really if you have time. They tell me, like, come. And I tell them straight out, like, honestly, with me, like, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but you got to let me know ahead of time. Yeah. Because I already have so much things lined up that I'm just
you have your appointments.
Yeah. Like,
you filled up.
I don't even know what I might be doing in the next 20 minutes, but in those 20 minutes, so much could pop up that I'm already booked. And, I'm there. Boom. You know? Like, it's crazy how, like, you could be sitting down right now, and then out of nowhere, we're somewhere else, like doing something else. You know?
Oh yeah.
So
you gotta keep going. Yeah. It doesn't end.
Yep. And that's why I'm always telling people, like, hey, if you're doing a business or you're doing something that's keeping you pushing, like don't let it like drown you and bring you down. Because trust me, like it's normal to feel overwhelmed. That means you're doing something.
Right. Yeah.
You know, because if you're just like, this is cake, I could do this anytime. That means you're not putting in enough work. You know, that's the way I see it. I mean, someone might see it differently, but it's like...
Yeah, you got to challenge yourself.
Yeah, exactly, because that means you're getting too comfortable.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's why I tell myself, like, okay, well, how can I grow it? How can I continue to push it more, you know? Because obviously, as the time goes on, social media is changing with it, too. The way marketing is changing, too. Yeah. I mean, back then, and I tell a lot of people here in town that I've had this convo with, it's like... When was it normal for you to see a business owner hanging out with another business owner that's a younger crowd? Mm-hmm. Back then, like if you hear, so and so owns this, you think of an OG, older person, yeah, right, like an OG. Like it's not the young crowd, and even then, back then, you wouldn't even see the owner being out. Now, I feel like you almost have to be out to get your business known out there.
Right. You gotta put the name out there, grind.
More competition, I think, is wise. The branding yourself.
Yep.
So people get to know the owner. Like, I like that guy. I'm gonna go give him my money.
Right.
I don't like what he does, so I'm gonna go to this guy.
Yeah.
So just building the brand through awareness of the owner, of what he does, where he's at, associations.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, realistically speaking, they might not even like the service that is given from the actual business itself, but because the person that's in charge of it gives them that comfort, they'll go rock with you. You know? So, and I feel like that's what matters a lot, especially
the relationships.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's how networking happens too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even then to this day, I don't go out like that, but like I'll go have a drink here and there at my friend's spot, Foxtail. But for me, Foxtail, it's like a very like a networking area. There. You know, you go there, you find people that you didn't even know that business existed here.
Right.
And then after, you're like, oh, you know what? I remember that this dude told me he had it. Let me go check it out. And then from there, boom, you start networking with them, boom, 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 you know? So, like, for me, I was never into cigars. But was it Z's? The Z's Cigar Lounge right here on Callaway?
Right down the street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The one, is it by the Vons?
I'm not sure. I've only been there like twice, just because I had to go do a quick business with her. But like, long story short, with her, it was like, I'm not into cigars or anything, but the way she like carried herself for the business, I was like, you know what? I rock with it. Like, it's cool here. So I ended up telling the people that I know that like cigars. I was like, hey, go check her out. And they have a locker there now. They have a few lockers there.
Oh, crazy.
So I'm like, you know, that
network.
Network.
Help one another.
Yep.
Treating people well, too. I'm sure she gave like an impersonate, like, oh, you need anything? Let me, you know, need this, need that. Let me know if you have questions.
Yeah.
Just being a good person to other people, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, that was cool right there. So, like, I ended up we ended up booking her for one of my friends' wedding. So, because she was, like, really cool about everything, I was like, you know what? I'll give you the business for that, too, you know? So that was cool right there. But I just feel like that's how networking happens, you know? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Especially now. I mean, like I said, if you're not out, I feel like your actual business won't be out either. Mm-hmm. You know? I mean, half the time now you see a lot of businesses just going with each other, which is cool.
Right. Yeah. Networking with each other. Helping one another.
Yep. Back then it was more like, nah, I ain't gonna go with this dude. Like, this fool has this. Nah, heck, nah, I'm doing my thing. Like, no, like, why you think like that? Like, you know, he might know people that you don't know. You might know people he don't know, and you guys grow.
Network.
Yeah. Give each other business.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I see it, you know? So that's why I told my guy from the detail, I go, look, bro, like, we have a target coming directly at us the moment we open up the mobile detail business, because there's a lot here. I was like, but at the same time, I'm not gonna go and step on people's toes. I mean, whoever's gonna rock with you, they're gonna rock with you for a reason.
Yeah.
You know? And whoever's not, hey, that's cool. So, like, the people that rock with me, like, it's people that I'm getting to know, and I've met, you know, through mutual friends or people, because they're like, hey, you know what? They're like, this guy was cool. I remember you told me you had a mobile detail business too.
Yeah.
So here we go, you know? Same thing with the tire shop.
Try it out.
You know, with the tire shop too. I mean, like, a lot of people always hit me up. Like, this last week I was in Miami, I probably had my phone going off the whole week. I was
yeah, you're never on vacation.
Yeah, like, it was
you're never on vacation. You're still working when you're out there.
It was going off, and I was like, hey, bro, like, I'm sorry, but, you know, I'm in Miami, but, like, when I come back, I got you. And certain people would wait for you because it's you, and some, you know, obviously they got to get it done.
Yeah.
But, I mean, half of the people, the moment I put that I'm back in town, they started hitting me back up again. Hey, I need this, I need that. All right, cool, let's get it.
It's that loyalty that you don't find, but obviously you must do something that someone else may not do, or they feel very comfortable coming back to you because you always provide great service, and you probably go above and beyond what you're actually supposed to do for them.
Yeah.
So they feel really taken care of.
Yeah.
You know, show you loyalty like
so
that.
then that's how the loyalty comes back.
Right.
Which that's how you are able to grow your business more, because those loyal customers will refer you more business.
Right.
As they still come back and give you their money.
Yep, exactly. Yep. So that's why, I mean, with him too, I mean, you know, hey.
Oh, yeah.
I need my car.
Yeah, we've been doing business about what, 6-7 years?
Yeah.
Doing business back and forth.
Yeah.
They did my car about a month ago.
Yeah. Matter of fact, before we started this, we just said about the Rover.
Yeah. Bringing her over, doing some little bit of upgrading, and let's get it.
It's that time, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
2025 is already here.
I know it's around the corner.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Time flies.
You gonna tell us about your new project or what? Or you leave it for another podcast?
I don't know. We might just have to do it for another podcast, maybe.
That's right.
Like we might just have to do one more podcast.
Yeah, one more.
One more. Or do you guys want to know?
I'm waiting.
You're waiting, huh? Oh, man.
I'm curious.
This water's good.
The holy water.
I know, right?
Extra hydrogen.
Yeah.
Makes you start smiling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this next project that I'm actually working on, it's actually part of Mr. Bubbles as well. So hopefully, I'm in the works right now, but if everything goes well, Mr. Bubbles is actually going to be a cruise through hand wash.
Nice.
Yeah. So
That'll be different.
No swirlings, no,
Yeah, no,
everything all hand. So from the moment that the car's, getting driven in, everything's gonna be all hand, with the same chemicals and everything. So we're not gonna go with like the cheaper chemicals.
You'll get a lot of business like that, because that's what we're missing. There's a couple in town, but not many.
Right.
But that's especially for the paint that I paint cars. It's real critical that you hand wash it.
Yep.
So for the longevity of the paint, you know what I mean. And some people don't care about having it for a long time either, though. But the best thing to do is get it hand washed. It's real essential for the paint.
Yep. So that's pretty much what we're gonna do, and then we're gonna offer the ceramic coating for the same thing for like the vehicles that fresh painted. That way you don't get that scratched up.
Right.
So we offer it already, but this is going to be there.
Right.
Where, you could just drop your car off and then boom, we'll call you when it's ready.
That's pretty dope.
That's in the works right there. So
There we go.
But yeah, so that's hopefully by February we'll have an answer right
2025.
2025.
There you go.
Where you got
So be ready.
planning for 2025.
Yep.
It already started. You got to start doing it right now. Get the plans going, and 2025 comes, you hit the ground running.
Yeah, so we'll be busy for sure. I know me, myself, I'll be busy because I'm going to do that Miami drop.
Yeah.
And then the whole car wash thing too, so that'd be good.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
But yeah, so, and then keep in mind that everything, like I said, on the products, everything's going to be all from the same company that I'm doing already, which is 3D. So that's where we get our stuff from. So that'll be good right there.
Maintain that quality still.
Yep.
Which is good.
Yep. So I'm going to have to actually bring him on a next podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That dude's good.
Yeah, he's been around for a little bit already, and I know a lot of detailers get the stuff from there. You got good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
El Compa Manning.
El Compa Manning.
Compa Manning. Yep. But yeah, so let me see. That's pretty much what we got right there.
Perfect. Anything you want to add, Rudy?
Come on, Rudy.
During those like 3 months, you said you're kind of figuring things out. What was the biggest challenge for you in those 3 months?
When you said the 3 months, are we talking about when I was in
was it the academy?
Oh, okay, yeah. I guess it was more taking the risk. The taking the risk part, because it was like, okay, I had this money stashed up on the side, but do I want to take the risk? Because at the time I wasn't working, so it's like, okay, if I use it, what's gonna happen if I don't make more money? Pretty much, like, am I gonna fail or will not? I guess that was my biggest thing right there, because I was like, if I fail, then I just lose all this money that I just invested in, But I mean, how I said too, like, And I told people that, like, if you don't take a risk, you're not going to find out of what could have potentially happened.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I rather...
You're going to have that if.
That if, yeah, exactly. I rather have okay, I learned where I failed. Now I could do it again, but know where the mistake was, than what if.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That's probably the worst is the what if, the regret.
Yeah. So, yeah, that would probably be it right there. The hardest thing, just kind of sitting down and just being like, if I don't do it, or if I do it, you know? But I was like, you know what? I got to do it. Because how we said, if not, we're going to be sitting down and be like, we're going to be like, what if I didn't do it?
Yeah.
Someone else could have opened another detail and probably got those customers. And, you know, it could have been our investment right there.
Right.
You know, because that's the way I see it. I feel like any business you do, it's an investment.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so...
You're going to take a risk. It's going to be an investment, and you're going to see how long you're going to... your return back.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, of course, and it's happened before, too, where, like, yeah, a business itself doesn't actually make it, but, I mean, that's the whole purpose of taking the risk, you know?
Yeah. And then during all these different businesses you tried, was there ever any like self-doubt or like, oh, I don't know if I should keep going? Or were you just like, I'm going to go until I know this is going to work or not?
So I actually have, and I've had it with the clothing brand. Because to be honest, the clothing brand itself, it's hard. The sales market for clothes is hard. I mean, I've had times where I invested $2,000 to $3,000, and I literally have a closet full of just merch, where I'm just like, you know what? I'm not selling it. Here, like, take it. But the way I see it, it's like, okay, if I give you to a hoodie, that gives 2 more options to expose itself, you know? So that's why...
Advertisement.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, you know what? I mean, yeah, I invested this much money, but at the same time, that one person that sees it on you could be the potential buyer that continues buying. And then they're going to get another buyer, and it just kind of floats from there, you know? But I think the clothing brand was... I've sat down, and I've even told myself, like, do I still want to do it? Am I going to do it? And then I'm like, you know what? I already started it, so why end it? You know? Just keep going.
I like it.
You know?
Good stuff.
It's the mindset. You have a very different mindset than your average person.
Yeah.
Because you turn a negative almost into a positive, like, right away.
Yeah.
Like... That's what I've noticed this whole time is you took the negative and it's positive.
Yeah, I don't really have time, me, myself, to just be like, damn. Like, you know.
Dwell on shit for too long.
You know,
Which I think people should hear that, and I like people are hearing that because I think anyone can really do that. You just got to practice it if it doesn't come to you naturally.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the white truck that I told you that I bought for the detailing, my guy calls me. He's like, hey, he goes, the truck don't want to turn on no more. Like, damn. Gets it towed to the shop. Check it out. Engine blows out.
Oh.
I'm like, well, I can't have this machine, you know, not making money.
Right, I gotta get it back on the road.
I got to figure something out. So I started doing my research, doing my hunt. Maybe within like 30 minutes of posting and everything, one of my homies hits me up. Bro, it's like it was meant to be. He goes, I got this van for you, ready to go. He had it pretty much, not fully equipped, but he had it with some equipment that he was going to give already with it if I bought it from him. I was like, bro, let's go. The 2
Blessings.
days. Yeah, literally, that's a big
because
blessing.
you didn't go and dwell on it. You figuring it out. How am I going to get it back on the road?
Yeah, and what's crazy, because when that happened, I was actually talking to one of the guys, or one of my customers from the shop that we go to the same church together. And I had just told him, like, he goes, hey, what's going on? And I go, man, I'm stressing right now. Like, my truck just gave out. I'm trying to figure this out. And then he was like, well, what happened? He's like, well, the engine's out. Like, I need to buy a new vehicle. And I was like, oh, man, okay. He's like, well, just pray about it, you know? So I remember I was texting my lady. I was like, damn, the truck gave out. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I was already thinking, I was like, damn, we're going to load up the new truck, you know, the GMC.
Put it to work.
Let's get it to work, you know, or even the Rover. I'm like, hey, got to make some money. And within those 30 minutes, I remember I ran back to him and I go, bro, look at this message. And that was the message that they texted me. Because I remember I was kind of like pacing back and forth, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stress about it anymore. Like, I know it's gonna get figured out. Like I figured everything out. I always figure everything out. I mean, you know, God's always watching over us and He's always looking out. I'm sure He's gonna make something happen right now. Within those 30 minutes, boom. I get the message, get the call. The next day, we get the van. I was like, and we're back in business again. So I didn't even. I think I probably went down for like a day or two just to kind of get everything organized, you know. Yeah. But it just kind of gave me time to kind of reflect and get everything situated, get everything organized, and boom. And I mean, the van's running strong, and there we are again.
All right.
So
finding solutions.
Good shit.
Have to, you know, we have to.
Yeah.
There's always a way out.
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start wrapping up the podcast. So if you could give the audience, whether it's a business tip, life tip, piece of advice that you would let them know that you've learned from your own journey.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're out there and you do have a business, or even if you're gonna start a business, probably the best advice I could tell you is don't listen to anyone besides your own self, because people are gonna tell you don't do this, don't do that, but it could either be good or bad. Because one, they don't want you to do it because they see it as a threat, or two, they just, you know, they don't rock with you like that, you know? So just do what's best for yourself, and you think it's for yourself and your heart, you know? And then, you know, once you start it, just do your thing. Like, you're always, don't get discouraged if you have that one customer or two that gives you that one comment or a negative comment. Take that as a good feedback, you know? If the customer tells you, hey, I didn't like this, all right, cool. Now you know what not to do. Or tell your guys, hey, this is what we got to work on for the future, you know? Because I feel like feedback's very good for us to learn off of. Because if we don't get no feedback, we're not learning from our mistakes, you know? Right. So that's why I always tell my customers too, like, don't be afraid to tell me, like, hey, if we're messing up or if you're not satisfied with something, let me know, because I got to think about it for myself to where I could strategize it and then let my guy know too, you know? So like I said too, and then don't be afraid to take the risk. Yeah. Taking risk is...
Go for it.
Go for it, yep.
Don't leave the if. What if?
Yeah. Yep. All the way to the top. You know how Lil Wayne says, sky's the limit.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
The sky is the limit.
Well, yep. Well, thank you, Junior, for joining us. Really appreciate all the information and you telling your story about everything.
Of course.
And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. What's your story?